This is the Fox 5 News Block.
Jury selection begins in the federal sex trafficking trial of rapper Sean Diddy Combs. And turmoil on the tarmac as Newark Airport faces countless cancellations and delays due to weather and technical failures. Good afternoon, I'm Bianca Peters. Welcome to the News Block. Those stories in just a moment, but first, here's a live look outside right now. Let's bring in Liv Johnson for a first look at the forecast. Pretty gloomy out there, Liv.
Yes, very gloomy. We have fog, we have drizzle, we have rain in some areas. Not coming down too heavy right now in the city, but we could still see some stronger storms as we get into the later afternoon and the evening. And we're still dealing with some visibility issues we have since earlier this morning. Those low-hanging clouds and some fog, so be careful out there on the roads. We don't really expect much to change from here on out. No wind gusts right now, but we still could see some stronger wind gusts as we get through the evening. Long Island was just having wind gusts, but we're just going in and out of them throughout the tri-state. Temperatures stay in the upper 50s and low 60s. We'll see some consistent rainfall. It gets a bit more sparse through the evening hours, but we have more rain focused out on Long Island and parts of Connecticut. You're just never really going to be in the clear for the next couple of days. Tuesday morning, a bit more sparse again, but then we see some passing showers. Some of these storms could bring some heavy rain, localized flooding, and some thunder. And then they become more sparse Tuesday afternoon, but still we're looking at rainfall totals of 3 to 4 inches, especially for areas out east like Long Island and Connecticut. For the next few days, it's just a rainy week overall. Bianca.
Certainly is. Liv, thanks so much. Well, jury selection begins in the federal sex trafficking trial of rapper Sean Diddy Combs. Now, jury selection could take several days, with opening statements and the start of testimony expected sometime next week.
Bianca, as many as 150 potential jurors are being questioned today. Some said that they have heard about the allegations. One woman said that she saw the video of Diddy assaulting Cassie Ventura. And another woman said that she heard a comedian make a joke about all of the baby oil bottles found inside Diddy's house. Now, Diddy walked into courtroom today and he hugged all of his attorneys. He was also seen in casual clothing, different from his usual prison uniform. He wore a sweater with a white collared shirt underneath and gray slacks. The jury will be anonymous, and this is often the case in high-profile trials to protect jurors from harassment. The trial is expected to last around 2 months, and we can also expect prosecutors to argue that Diddy used his power to force women to participate in drug-fueled orgies that lasted days, also known as freak-offs. Diddy's defense team says everything was consensual, and his attorney, Mark Agnifilo, said during a hearing last month that there's nothing criminal about a swinger's lifestyle. One of the 4 alleged victims expected to testify include R&B singer and ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura. The judge also said that he wants to take 3 days to seat a panel of 12 jurors and 6 alternates. Now, opening statements are set for Monday, and Diddy is facing life in prison if convicted. We're live outside federal court in Lower Manhattan. Michelle Ross, Fox 5 News.
All right, Michelle, thank you for that. All right, let's take a live look at Newark Airport right now. That's where travelers are dealing with increasing delays and all those cancellations. There are several contributing factors as of right now. Some flights were impacted by a temporary ground stop due to weather this morning. But for the past week, the airport has also been dealing with a shortage of air traffic controllers, equipment failures, and runway construction. Earlier today, New York Senator Chuck Schumer called for a full Inspector General investigation.
We need the Office of Inspector General to look into how the FAA is managing its multifold mission of keeping the flying public safe and the airspace efficient amid the national air traffic controller shortage, possible political pressures, and tech failures.
Well, the Trump administration has said it is working to fix equipment outages caused by outdated technology and is trying to make moves to address the nation's shortage of controllers. And some developing news out of the Middle East. Israeli officials say the country's cabinet has approved a plan to capture all of Gaza and remain in the Palestinian territory for an unspecified amount of time. If that plan moves forward, it's expected to be met with strong international opposition because it could displace more Palestinians and worsen the humanitarian crisis. A defense official told the Associated Press that plan wouldn't begin until after President Trump visits the Middle East this month, allowing time for a possible ceasefire deal. And the Trump administration says it will pay illegal immigrants in the U.S. $1,000 to leave the country, adding a new part to the president's immigration plans. It all comes as President Trump pushes other topics in his agenda, including the reopening of the infamous Alcatraz prison and new threats of tariffs on the movie industry. Fox's Madeline Rivera has the very latest from Washington.
Movie tariffs, what they've done is other nations have been stealing the movies, the movie-making capabilities from the United States.
He might call it making movies great again. President Trump targeting motion pictures made abroad with an extension to his sweeping tariffs, saying America's movie industry is dying a, quote, very fast death.
If they're not willing to make a movie inside the United States, and we should have a tariff on movies that come in.
In another surprise announcement, President Trump called for reopening the doors of Alcatraz, the island prison in San Francisco Bay closed nearly 60 years ago. On Truth Social, the president adding, quote, when we were a more serious nation in times past, we did not hesitate to lock up the most dangerous criminals and keep them far away from anyone they could harm.
Just an idea I've had. It's a symbol of law and order. And, you know, it's got quite a history, frankly.
Historically, Alcatraz was used to house the worst of the worst, and that's exactly what we're doing at Guantanamo Bay and could potentially do at Alcatraz as well.
California Governor Gavin Newsom dismissed the president's plans to rehab Alcatraz, a spokesperson for Newsom calling the move Distraction Day.
He talks about everything but actually fixing the economy and lowering price of goods and lowering the cost of housing, and it's all smoke and mirrors. So when you start doing these individual things, it creates more chaos and more confusion for the American people.
As of this month, the president has signed well over 100 executive orders in his second term, including rescinding many signed by President Biden. This Monday, the president is scheduled to sign more. In Washington, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
Well, New York Attorney General Letitia James joins 19 other Democratic attorney generals in a lawsuit against the Trump administration for the dismantling of HHS. Now, she calls it dangerous, cruel, and illegal. Take a look.
We are asking the court to halt the unlawful dismantling of HHS, to stop the mass firings, and to restore the life-saving programs that millions of Americans depend on, including 9/11 responders, children, and New Yorkers whose lives depend on HHS.
Well, James says the Trump administration's actions defy Congress authority and violate federal law. And cardinals are back at the Vatican attending meetings ahead of the conclave happening later this week. 135 cardinals are eligible to participate in the secretive voting process, which is set to begin on Wednesday. It's the most geographically diverse conclave in history, and a two-thirds majority is needed to be elected pope, so the winner must secure at least 89 votes. We're going to be right back after this. Stay with us.
Are you ready for the ultimate entertainment experience? Spectrum is bringing together the streaming apps you love. Plus, live TV for sports, entertainment, and news. All in one place, across your devices. So no matter when or where you are, it's all here. Spectrum.
All right, welcome back. It's the first Monday in May, and that means the biggest night in fashion. So stars will be turning heads on the red carpet at the Met Gala. This year's theme is superfine, tailoring black style. The Costume Institute gave us a sneak preview of the exhibit earlier today. It's dedicated to examining the cultural evolution and importance of clothing and style. One of the Gala co-chairs spoke about that meaning and the theme for him and the family members who wore a style inspiration to him throughout the years.
I remember them saying to us, you can always have style, baby. Style doesn't have to cost too much. What a marvelous idea, right? With a little nip and a little tuck, you can create what you want it for yourself and how you want it to be perceived.
The event is a benefit for the Costume Institute, and this year's gala has already shattered records, raising $31 million for the museum. And it's the end of an era for a pioneering video call program. Today, Microsoft shutting down its once dominant Skype service. The company bought Skype for $8.5 billion back in 2011. Skype had hundreds of monthly millions users and at its peak. But in recent years, it lost market share to Zoom, FaceTime, and even Microsoft's own Teams software. Skype users have until January to download their data or switch it over to Teams. Meanwhile, Lady Gaga sets a world record. An estimated 2.5 million fans turned out to see her Saturday night concert at Rio de Janeiro's Copacabana Beach. She broke a record actually set last year by Madonna at the same venue. Meanwhile, 2 people are in custody as the Brazilian police say that they have accused of 2 people were accused of plotting to detonate explosives at that concert. Investigators believe the suspects chose Lady Gaga's show as a way to target the LGBTQ community, a group the singer has embraced throughout her career. Now, these arrests were made just hours before that concert was set to begin. And a major milestone birthday for the grandmother of a member of the Fox 5 family. Veronica Bonagura is the grandmother of her copy editor, Chad Boyle. Chad's grandmother turned 100 years old yesterday and was celebrated by family at a party in New Jersey. Veronica tells us her secret to living to 100 is reading Danielle Steele romance novels. So a very big congratulations to Veronica. All right, a live look outside. Before we go, let's bring in Liv Johnson for a look at the forecast. Hey, Liv.
Hey, Bianca, and that live look is really what we have for the rest of the day. Don't expect too much. Our highs are below average again. We're back in the low to mid 60s. Low clouds and fogs like we saw in that live picture, showers and thunderstorms. Localized flooding for some areas because at some points these scattered storms could bring some heavy rain, especially out east. So 64 is our high today. We just have 60 out on Long Island, 58 for East Hampton and Belmar. We have 64 for Hartford and Poughkeepsie and 62 for Monticello. This area of low pressure is what's giving us an issue today and will give us an issue the next few days because you can see on our future cast it just kind of lurks over our region for the foreseeable future. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, finally kind of making its way out by Thursday, but still this front could have some rain ahead and behind it. So let's look at rainfall totals. By later tonight we'll probably be around half an inch and a little more. East Hampton, 1.5 inches. I think a little bit more than that for Hartford, even probably closer to an inch. Bridgeport over an inch of rain by later tonight. Then we go to Tuesday night, and I think tomorrow we'll probably have even more rain than we saw today. We're looking at about 2 inches from Hartford all the way down to New York City, and then East Hampton more than 2 inches by tomorrow. Still will have some lingering rain Wednesday afternoon, possibly Thursday and Friday, but it kind of tapers off by the end of the week. I think our weekend will be fine. I think Thursday has a good chance of being dry, but right now we're just waiting to see really how long the system is over our area. So upper 50s for our lows tonight. Tomorrow a little bit warmer, mid 60s. Some of us get into the 70s, and then we get there for a couple of days. Again, Thursday I think we could be dry. Hopefully the weekend as well. Just have to get through the next couple of days. Bianca.
All right, Liv, thanks so much. Well, that's your news block for now. Bianca Peters, thanks for joining us. Tune in to the 5 o'clock news on Fox 5 and right here on Fox Local for all the day's news as it develops. We'll see you back here tomorrow.